Hello, I wanted to show you Nikon's best street lens ever created. You'll basically find no information about it online. I mean, there's really not much about this lens. It's one of my favorite lenses. There's not a single one of you that asked me to talk about this lens. I can't do it any longer. That lens was a joke, obviously. That wasn't the lens. This is the lens I'm talking about. I know you people are going, he's going to talk about that old piece of crap? You think I'm stupid? Anyway, this is the lens. It's a Nikkor 20 to 35 2.8. All this time, yeah, I had you going there, didn't I? All this time, none of you have asked me about this lens, and I kid you not, all of a sudden, someone asked me about this lens 4 days ago. It's like, you didn't mention this lens. I said, well, I've been through all your videos and you never mentioned it. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I have it on the list to do. I mean, I thought about actually buying another one before I mentioned it because it's my favorite street lens, and by the time I mention it, you know, they'll like vanish and prices will skyrocket. And then an old retired photographer asked me a couple days ago, he said, I saw your video series on the worst Nikkor lenses. He said, I was half expecting, where's mine? He said, you've never mentioned mine. He says, I love this lens. And I said, well, it's coming. I said, he said, well, do a video review about it. It's like, okay. He sent me a nice picture of his son. Anyway, I only have a few super secret lenses left to show you, and this is certainly one of them. So where do I begin? This is definitely what I would call the best street / photojournalist lens. Now, a lot of people, you can actually go on Flickr. Flickr's got a page with an enormous amount of sample images from this particular lens, but this lens was only made for 6.5 years. Now, they'll say 7, but it was made for 6.5. It's got some incredibly expensive 3 aspherical elements in it that cost Nikon a lot of time and labor to create. It's basically the same reason that Sig Sauer stopped making CNC machined stainless receivers. It is just too long. You couldn't speed up the process. It's the same way in creating aspherical elements. It's like no matter how good the technology gets, is that we have to sell these lenses for a certain price point, otherwise they'll be so expensive nobody will buy them. And so this is the lens that Nikon was losing their ass on. I mean, yeah, they still made a profit, but they were losing their ass on this lens. About 40,000 of these were made, and you really find very few of them for sale, and the reason is that everybody's got one, knows how awesome they are. Now, I was going to try to buy another one of these before I made this video, and once I make it, they'll like vanish everywhere. Lucky me. Stay tuned for part 2 of this video. I'm going to compare this lens to the 17 to 35, not the 17, well 17 35 also, but the 18 to 35, the 16 to 35 VRG, and the Nikkor 14 to 24, because homie really loves right after prime lenses, home and old lenses that are really awesome and cheap. Homie really loves wide zooms, especially good ones. And yeah, you can tell I've actually got an air-coated filter on this. You can actually see the bulbous front element on it. Now, she's damn heavy, and let me bring my weight over here. I think she's 1 pound, 6 point something ounces. And it says 1 pound, 5.7 ounces. Let me try that again. I thought it was actually heavier than that. It says 1 pound, 5.7 ounces. Thought it was a hair heavier than that. I think I was weighing the the front lens cap before. So what's so awesome about this lens? I'm going to talk about this and do a compare and contrast in the next video, but like comparative to the Nikkor 1735, which people have a wrong misconception about this lens. It was made for such a short period of time. It cost, Nikon was bleeding out their fanny making it. It was just too damn expensive. The aspherical elements and the production costs in this lens were just too high relative to the price point that they had to sell it at. There's nothing else out there. People think that the Nikkor 17 to 35 replaced this, which it did, but not exactly. They were able to get down production costs by the introduction of a plastic layered aspherical element. Now, I don't know about you, but Captain Tattooed Peep here doesn't like light transmission through plastic. When I'm paying $2,000 for a lens, not this lens, the Nikkor 17 to 35, paying $2,000 for a lens, I kind of like my image not to pass through plastic. So that'll be one of the things I'm comparing and contrasting in video number 2. The short of it is that really, if you do a web search on this, you'll find only a few articles on this. Now, Nikon's got a blurb about it being one of the early Dragon lenses. We call the Holy Trinity. They were referring to them as their Dragon lenses, and this was one of them. It's obviously a 2.8. It's a 20 to 35. Now, it's not a 17 to 35, and it's not a 16 to 35, but so what? I mean, that's all I'm using anyway. I mean, this is a fast, incredible D-series street lens. A lot of people use these for landscape. Now, however, I'll be talking about video number 2 about comparing and contrasting. You can get a full explanation there. But now, you're probably wondering if I'm saying that this lens is a must-buy. And it really amazes me. It just goes to prove how few people know about this lens. Not a single one of you have mentioned this lens or asked about it, except for 2 people in the past week. And it's like, that's one of my favorite lenses to go out and shoot, especially when you hit the graveyards. Yeah, I take a lot of morbid shots. I mean, if I'm shooting for myself, I'll shoot what I want. Is it the most perfect landscape lens? I would say no, but I mean, it's really damn close. Are the optics dated on it? No. I said Nikon lost their ass on this lens. I mean, they still made a profit, but it's kind of hard to sum up this lens. It's incredibly small, dense, compact. It's extremely sharp. It's a hair soft at the corners on 20mm, but not much. But this is Nikon's, and it's so sad they don't make this lens anymore. This is Nikon's best street lens / photojournalist lens that they've got, and they don't make it anymore. It was just too damn expensive. Very heavy. 3 very expensive aspherical elements. A D series. It's 14 elements and 11 groups. So 14 glass elements. And yes, I do have a protective filter on the front of it. Anti-reflective coating protective filter. Typically these can be had, and I'm sure that will change overnight after I post this video. Can be had for about $6 or $6.25. And this used to be an insanely expensive lens, and now it's just gone unknown. But this is actually one of my favorite lenses, period, if not of all time. I mean, I actually place it in top 10 lenses. Got a lot of use. It's just flat out the cat's ass. I mean, it's there's nothing to demean about it. And believe it or not, even though it's an older lens from the mid-1990s, it's got damn fast autofocus. But I mean, that's primarily due to the fact that it's a 20 to 35mm focal range. I mean, you don't have that far to actually go on either far end as far as focusing a wide zoom like this. So that's really the primary reason. But I mean, it's damn fast, and I absolutely love the dog piss out of it. I would actually consider this a must-buy lens. But the only reason I'm actually reticent in saying that is that A, it's heavy. A lot of people are like, well, you've turned me on to that other lens, the 18 to 35, and it's really lightweight, and you can't get this lens anymore. It's basically the same price as the other lens. Anyway, obviously I'm flapping my lips too much, but this is one of my top lenses of all time, and it is the Nikkor 20 to 35 f2.8 D series. Unquestionably Nikon's best street lens. I mean, if you're going to do urban street and you want a wide zoom, and I'll tell you why in the next video. I'll be comparing and contrasting it with other lenses, other wide zooms in the Nikkor range. Okay? Catch you later on the next video. Let's just call this video part 1, okay?